Hi friends, in this tutorial we are going to see how we can make the use of joins to achieve the result of the swapping. So here in the input I have one table in which we have two columns, student ID and the marks, and for input we have five different rows 1 to 5, and among these student IDs we have the different marks. So the expected result is that in front of student ID 1 the output should be 20, and in front of student ID 2 the output should be 10, and similarly for 3 it should be 40, and for 4 it should be 30, and for 5, as the number of total rows are odd, so in front of 5 the output should be null, as there is no consecutive row number 6 to swap the values. So the output expected for number 5th row is null. So how I'm going to use the joins? So first of all I'll show you in the Excel that how we can visualize the joins, that how they will behave and what will be our output. So this is the same table that was our input table, just I have given the different analysis, table A, table B and table C. So these are the three different, so one different table but with the three different analysis. So over here I will join these tables on the two different conditions. The conditions with table B will be like that: if the student ID is odd and the student ID from table B is equal to the student ID from table A minus 1, then we are going to consume the marks from the B table. Else, if the C student ID is even and A dot ID plus 1 is equal to C dot ID, then we are going to use the C dot marks, the marks from the table C. So let's see how it will work. So in the first table, when I'm joining table A and table B on the first condition which I'm highlighting over here, so in this scenario your ID is 1. So the B dot student ID is odd. So B dot student ID is odd. So over here the student ID is 1. So that is odd. But we are comparing it with which ID? B ID with A dot ID minus 1, which is 1 minus 1 is equals to 0. So there is no column. So there is no row with student ID equals to 0. So this won't fulfill our condition. So it will swap next, go to the next join, which is a table C with A table with C. So here I have student ID is equal to 1. So over here student ID is even. So now student ID is even means I'm taking the value for 2. So over 2 over here, and then and A dot ID plus 1. So A dot ID plus 1 is 1 plus 1 is 2 is equal to C dot ID. So over here 1 plus 1 from table A will come, and from table C the row with the student ID equal to 2 will be the output. So over here if you will see, we'll take the marks from the C table, and from B it will be null and from C it will be 20. And similarly for column for student ID 2, the value output will come from the table B with value equal to 10. So when I will take our output, the final output, in which we will create a new column with the final marks, that will we take B marks or the C marks in case of whereas does not null. So the output will be 1, 20 and 2 and 10, 3 and 40 and 4 and 30 and 5 and 50. Now let's go to the SQL developer and see how it will work. So here I'm going to show you how we can achieve this result. So first of all I'm going to create just a normal table. Create table swap with two different columns. The one will be the student ID, the data type will be number, and the column I'm taking as marks, the student and the marks, the data type for mark will be again number. So I'll just execute this one. So the table swap created. Now I will insert the values. Then just execute this one. So one row has inserted. So we can see I have inserted the value one row. So now similarly I will insert the 5 different rows. So now similarly we have inserted all the rows. Now I'll execute this one, and we have the table in which we have 5 input rows, 1 to 5, and the marks. So now I'm going to write a query in which we are using the joins for the same table, and we will see if we are able to swap the result or not. So how I will use it: select a dot student underscore id comma a dot marks, and the new output column which I'm going to create using a case statement. Case: when b dot marks is null, then c dot marks, else b dot marks. We'll say it as end as, we can say final marks, final underscore marks from swap, the lies will be a. Now we are going to left join with swap, but the lies will be b now, and the condition we are using on. Now go back to the Excel and copy this condition. We are going to use the same condition, but we'll just change the syntax which we used in the SQL, right? So to find out whether the b.student_id is odd or not, we are going to use the mod function. So on condition mod b.student_id comma 2 is not equal to 0, and a dot student underscore id minus 1 is equal to b dot student score id, and the left join with swap table but the different alias, and we'll copy this condition from the Excel instead of the table b on, and the mod c dot student underscore id is equal comma 2 is equals to 0, and a dot student id plus 1. I'll just copy paste, and we will change the required fields plus, and over here I want to see student id. Now I want to order the result by a dot student underscore id. So this will be a query. Now let's execute and see if there are any errors or we are able to achieve our output. Okay, so I'll just show you the output. So for in front of 1 we got 20, in front of 2 we got 10, in front of 3 we got 40, and in front of 4 we got 30, and similarly in front of 5 we got the null. So we have achieved our output, but we were expecting this output is same as what we have mentioned here in the expected result. So we have achieved using this query in which we have just used a simple left join with the same table but with a different aliases. So I hope this has cleared your concept of swapping the values in the SQL, how we can do that through the SQL joins.